All right, I'm going to call to order the December 19th meeting of the Everett School Committee. Roll call, please, Lauren.
Mr. Barrows?
Here.
Mrs. Cardell?
Here.
Mr. D'Onofrio? Mr. Ela?
Here.
Mr. LaMarca?
Here.
Mr. McLaughlin? Mr. Panarisi?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Epperson?
Here, 7 members present. We have a quorum. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is reading a record from the December 14th meeting.
I make a second.
Motion made and seconded to waive the reading and place on file. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Now we come to tonight's, what this meeting is all about, the vote for the next superintendent of the Everett Public Schools. Mr. Parker, if you could explain in terms of the voting process and how we're going to do this in terms of majority versus supermajority, I guess is what it'd be called.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So tonight we'll be voting by ballot, which means that as your name is called, you will declare the candidate that you support for the next superintendent. With that, at that time, you'll have an opportunity to tell why you're in support of that candidate. And with that, there's 7 members present. The majority is 4. Nothing in our rules states that it has to be a majority of the entire body of 9. So therefore, it refers to Robert's rules, which states that Robert rules requires a majority of those voting. So such as 4 members out of 7 or 4 members out of 6. So therefore, 7 members tonight, so 4 is the majority. So the candidate that gets 4 votes is the next superintendent. So that was done in concert with the information supplied by the Mass Association of School Committees and also reviewing our rules. Now, where this is somewhat of an expenditure, the roll vote will suffice that anything regarding an expenditure has to be done by a roll call vote too. So kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. So at this time, how we're going to vote is you've got the 3 candidates before you. We're going to go in alphabetical order with the chair being the last, even though I'm first in alphabetical order. And what's going to happen is when your name is called, you're going to be allowed to speak on behalf of, basically you can speak on behalf of the whole process, but obviously in particular with the candidate that you support. Anyone else want to add anything before we go to the roll call? Okay, Lauren?
Mr. Barrows?
That's me.
That's you, Mr. Barrows.
It's not Marconi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So before I mention my candidate, if I may, Mr. Chairman, to say a few words, not only about the candidate, but about how I came about to choose this person. I was honored to be chosen by you to be a member of the search committee. With that, I was able to interview all these candidates, not only once, but twice. Also, in addition to that, I was able to do site visits, going to those candidates' districts, of some of these candidates, not all of them. Also, in addition to that, by doing site visits, I was able to come to our schools, as I usually do, talk to our teachers, parents, not only the calls or the emails that I receive, but go in person talking to them what they would like to see on a new superintendent. I have read the references. I have checked the references of all of them. I have thought about this night, as it is a very historic night for our city. And it's a very hard decision because we had 4 outstanding candidates. Now we have 3 outstanding candidates. And I wish we had the opportunity to hire the 3 of them. But we don't. So I came to a conclusion that Priya Tahiliani is the right person to lead our schools at this moment for several reasons. First, for all that I heard during the interviews, the Q&As when she came into the high school, which I saw it online, live, talking to parents, talking to teachers. I heard about the concern of she's being very focused on English language learners, which for me, as a former English language learner, that didn't concern me, because she is a candidate, one of the candidates that I was actually went to her district and talked to administrators, folks in the community, many others. In fact, she used to be not a ELL teacher. She used to be a teacher for, I believe, almost 17 years or 7 years in one school, which I visit as well, where she was not teaching English language learners. So it's not only about that. She's more than that. And that's why that I'm basing my decision tonight and believe that she is the right person to choose our schools based on her ability to manage, her leadership skills, her ability to put people together, to hire staff, to engage with parents, with students, and based on all of that, I believe she's the right choice. So my choice tonight is Priya Tahiliani to be our next superintendent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Barros. Next.
Mrs. Cardello?
Thank you, Lauren. Through you, Mr. Chairman, I thoroughly enjoyed the process. Did I agree with everything? No, I didn't, but I've moved on, and I respect your decision to go with things the way they have. The 4 candidates were very, very impressive, and it was really a hard decision. I went back in my notes of focus groups, and I took a lot of notes, and I kept looking back at the resumes and so forth and going to the notes. I was trying to match up what the people of our community wanted in the next superintendent. And some of the things, and I have my original notes, I didn't even rewrite them. They wanted someone that has been an educator, someone that was young enough and old enough to be able to connect with students, someone who can initially create an environment that welcomes all, someone that could create unity and consistency, a bridge builder, get parents more involved, understands how to communicate on websites. The community has changed some, looking for someone who can speak up for those who can't, speaks a second language. And it goes on, and every time I went back and forth, some had some of the characteristics. One, to me, had all, and that was Priya Tahiliani. So tonight, my vote is for Priya. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Cardell. Next up, Lauren.
Mr. Elam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Mr. Barros stated, the search process that we went through, the 15 people, the 15 of us that sat down, reviewed over 22 resumes in developing the 10 people that we chose to come forward was a daunting task in itself. I want to make sure that we recognize all those people that volunteered their time and the more than 300 hours that we spent searching, reading, interviewing, and determining who were the best 4 candidates to go forward. And I think that the people that are owed the greatest of gratitude are those members not on the school committee here, but who also participated in the whole search process. And without them, we wouldn't be sitting here tonight and making this momentous decision. The person that I recommend, and I will echo Mrs. Cardello and Mr. Barros, is Ms. Priya Tahiliani. Not only that for what she has done, but also where she talks of her program about migration and immigration and bringing people together, no matter where they come from, whether it comes from the next one part of the city of Boston that people are working, or a different community within the Commonwealth, or somewhere else in this country coming together to share those common goals of what it's like to come into a new situation. I know that in my own education, I went from one school district to another, and thinking back on what she was saying, that yes, it was a little bit difficult coming into a new situation, but if we can develop a program to make sure that all people are welcomed into the Everett Public Schools, and we use her program as a model for bringing in new students, whether they come from another town, another state, another country, I think that that's what we have to start looking at. Never mind all the other, plus all the other work that she has done for the city of Boston. I feel that we would be very fortunate, and we'll be our children, our parents, and our families will be very fortunate going forward with her as our next superintendent of school. So it will be, I will vote for Priya Tahiliani.
Thank you, Mr. Ehler.
Welcome.
Next, Lauren.
Mr. LaMonica?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My vote is also for Priya Tahiliani for the same reasons that my colleagues just discussed.
Thank you, Mr. Lamarca. Next, Lauren.
Mr. Panarisi?
Yes, I just want to say, this was quite the process, big learning experience. We had 4 great candidates, and then we were down to 3. And we interviewed them all Saturday, and they all came forward, put their best foot forward, and just told us why they want the job. And it was very hard. Last night I had to look over everything again. I had it down to 2 people, and Ms. Priya Tahiliani just won my vote over just because I could tell by her expression and the excitement in her voice and how excited she was. It wasn't just an interview for her. She was telling us how she really wanted this job. She told us her life story, and I really believed in how sincere she was. And the fact that she said she wants to reach out to every educator in the city and discuss what their needs are, what their concerns are. And I was very, very, very sincere. And she wants to move forward upon what the city has built already and what the schools have achieved. And I just believe that just her sincerity and just her excitement, you could tell her expression how much she wanted this job. And my vote is for Priya Tahiliani.
Thank you, Mr. Panarisi. Next, Lauren.
Mr. Parker?
Thank you. So this has been quite the process. It's been a long process, and it's been a learning process that took me across different cities and met different people, some great candidates beyond the 4 finalists that you saw. But the irony of the whole thing is that, while working on this vacancy for a superintendent, I created a vacancy in my own personal life. I feel like I haven't been home since April 24th when I pulled out papers. And it's with that I want to thank my wife Kathleen, my mother Lena, my sons Matt and Nick for their unselfish support and unconditional love over what seems forever. And I'm going to work hard to fill that vacancy after tonight. I had the opportunity of spending a lot of time with the candidates, both doing the interview process and visiting the district. And I did join Mr. Barros in going to Boston, so I'll be brief. One of the things that struck me about Priya Tahiliani is when I sat down and met Dr. Gabot. Dr. Gabot serves on the ELL task force of the Boston City Council. And we talked to her and said, how would you describe Priya Tahiliani? She said, she's a servant leader. Priya is a servant leader. And that struck me. And it stuck with me throughout the whole process. And it's with that, and for all the reasons said, and everything we know and done, that I'm fully confident in her talents to be the next educational leader for the Everett Public Schools. So I cast a vote for Priya Tahiliani.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. I guess I know who's next. Incredible process, historic. It's not just a historic night, it's been a historic year. I want to echo Frank's thoughts. What this process has done to my family has been not only eye-opening, it's broken my heart, and at the same time, it has brought us together in a way that I don't know if anything else ever could do it. On behalf of myself, I thank my wife Camille, my 3 boys, Tommy, Jay, and Chris, Devin, Sarah, Warner, my 5 grandchildren. It's been a lot of stuff going through, and all of a sudden tonight, it's just, for me, it is historic, because I've told people I'm the worst poker player in the world. I think people knew, anybody who was on that search committee, the night Priya Tahiliani came in at the Madeline English School and interviewed in front of all of us. I told somebody after, it was as if somebody had already handed her the questions that we had for her. She absolutely blew me away with her incredible professionalism, her knowledge, and just her passion. It was just amazing. I want to thank all the members of the search committee. You know, the people who left their families, the time that was spent was, again, this is something I don't think any of us bargained for in terms of the time, in terms of the energy, in terms of the passion that it took to make this decision. Like I described it to some people as it was like a jury sitting on a murder trial, was how serious the people took it. And there's been people taking shots at this process all along, and anybody who's taken shots at the process just has no idea what it was like. I want to thank all the members of the school committee for just staying true, straight ahead throughout. And I know I'm sure a lot of you have got I want to thank the community, got a bunch of texts, emails, in terms of how people felt about this. And this is America. Everybody has an opinion, and I appreciated everybody's opinion on this, because it's a very important decision. You know, I think tonight, based on, you know, how the number of people that are here tonight and the number of people that reached out and contacted us, I think we all realize how important it is. At the same time, I want to emphasize to everybody that whoever the superintendent is, this is going to be, the word that has been thrown at, this is going to be a collaboration. The one thing I think we've all found out on the school committee is the school committee does not work for the superintendent. The superintendent and the school committee are supposed to work together with the school community to make this the best possible education for our children. That's what it's about. And as I cast my vote for Priya Tahiliani, when she sat here the other day, I looked at her and I said, you know, you come across as a teacher. The very first focus group we ever had, everybody there that night said they wanted somebody that used to be a teacher. And not only somebody that used to be a teacher, somebody who hasn't forgotten that they were a teacher. And like I said, when I saw Priya that day sitting here Saturday, it said teacher all over it, all over her. And it's, I am extremely proud to cast my vote for Priya Tahiliani.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Parker.
now that we all basically voted, why don't we just do a roll call vote by name, and let's make it just sound real official.
Sounds good. Lauren, yes, please.
Mr. Barros.
Priya Tahiliani.
Mrs. Cardello.
Priya Taliani.
Mr. Ela.
Priya Tahiliani.
Mr. Lamonica.
Priya Tahiliani.
Mr. Panarisi.
Priya Taliani.
Mr. Parker.
Priya Tahiliani.
Mr. Ambrosese.
Priya Tahiliani. 7 votes for Priya Tahiliani. I don't have to ask if anybody wants to change their vote, although I will.
No, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move reconsideration in the hopes it does not pass.
Okay, now, we've gone down this
No.
road in the past.
No,
Okay,
no,
which means...
no.
Vote
to-
no.
we want
No.
to
Vote no.
Get it right,
Okay.
no.
So, okay, motion made and seconded for reconsideration in the hopes that it does not pass. Roll call vote, please, Lauren.
Mr. Barros. No. Mrs. Cardello.
No.
Mr. Ela.
No.
Mr. Lamonica.
No.
Mr. Panarisi.
No.
Mr. Parker.
Definitely no.
Mr. Ambrosese.
No. 7 in the negative, the motion for reconsideration does not pass. At this time, Glenn, I take a brief recess to make a phone call? Is that how?
excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Parker, go ahead.
If I can, I make a motion that Priya Tiliani be appointed superintendent of the schools for the Everett Public Schools effective July 1st, 2020 or sooner, subject to the successful negotiations of a contract of employment, mutually agreed to the candidate and the school committee, and signed by a majority of the school committee or their designees.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Priya Tahiliani to be the next superintendent of the Everett Public Schools by July 1st, if not sooner, pending the successful negotiation of a contract that will be signed by the majority of the school committee members.
And Mr. Chairman, where in effect, if it regards an expenditure, I'd call for a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, please. Lauren.
Mr. Barros.
Yes.
Mrs. Cardello.
Yes.
Mr. Ela.
Yes.
Mr. Lamonica.
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Ambrosese.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes. At this time, Glenn, at this time, we're going to take a very brief recess while the chairman and Mr. Kuchar make a phone call to Ms. Tahiliani. We're in recess. School committee meeting is back in order. I just had the pleasure of speaking to Ms. Tehiliani, and when I asked her if she was interested, she said 150%. She is absolutely interested and is honored to become the next superintendent of the Everett Public Schools. So, absolutely. Just a couple of housekeeping items. I'm sorry, I do this all the time. My apologies in advance to the mayor. The mayor wanted to be here tonight. His daughter is actually having a Christmas show at the Lafayette School. The mayor was here all day with us this past Saturday for the interviews, and I want to thank him for his help during this process. Also, Bernie D'Onofrio contacted me. He had a business commitment that he could not get out of. He wanted to get out of it, could not make it here tonight. But that's sort of it. Again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody in Everett. The one thing I will say is, I believe I told somebody back when that at the end of all this, people would be thanking us, and I'm pretty certain that that's going to be the case. That we've gotten what I would call, I'm sorry, Marconi, I refer to you as this, but we've got a rising star in the education field that's coming to Everett to be our next superintendent. And I don't know about you, but I'm extremely excited about it.
Yes, we are.
Mr. Reela.
Mr. Chairman, we've all thanked a lot of people. Sorry.
There goes the AD guy again.
Yeah, he does everything. I'd be remiss if, from those of us here on the school committee and the members that are actually from the search committee that are here this evening, I'd be remiss if we did not thank you for your leadership during this past 9-10 months of putting the committee together, holding the meetings, the orientation meetings, also guiding the process in a fair and transparent manner, leading all the interviews that we did, both for the initial 10 candidates and for the final 4 candidates, and for your steadfast adherence to all the rules and regulations that were put forth. And I'd also like to make sure that we thank Glenn Kuchar and Kathleen Kelly for the wonderful work that they've done, being with us every step of the way. Without them, I don't think we could have done it, and I think it was the wisest decision that we made back in, I think, January or February, to choose them to help represent us and guide us along the whole process. So to thank you and to thank the members of MASC for the wonderful job and leadership that you showed during this whole process.
Thank you. Thank you, David. And thank you, absolutely, on behalf of the school committee, on behalf of the city of Everett, Kathy and Glenn, thank you so much. And, well, at this time...
David, move it.
Well, I want to say, unfortunately, David won't be here, but again, thank you.
I'll be around.
Samantha, Cynthia, thank you for being here.
Dana,
Thank you during the
Cynthia.
process. Dana, thank you. Thank you so much. Dana sent me an email or two over the past couple of days. And Samantha, thank you. And look forward to it. The only downside is you won't be here, David. You'll be greatly missed.
Well, thank you very much, but I'll be around.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And happy
We-
holidays, everyone.
Oh, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas and all that. Happy New Year.
Happy Festivus.